This is the introduction of black people being serial killers.
It was. I remember being little. The idea of a black serial killer is terrifying to you.
Yeah, black people are not supposed to be serial killers.
Time flies. Time flies. Time flies.
That's not scary to me, because I've never categorized serial killing by color the way that white people and black people do. But so, because I don't believe in stereotypes. But John Muhammad was scary for many reasons, and he didn't look crazy like the other ones did. He had a very pensive, serious face and a haircut. Usually they're white, their hair's all crazy. Man, there were so many, and he got, it didn't happen in 2003. He got sentenced in 2003.
Right.
There was the mystery of who was shooting when we didn't know that he was black.
And nobody wanted to get gas. He brought the gas prices down single-handedly.
People stopped. Yeah, people were literally like,
gas, bro.
And I lived in Virginia during that time, which was the area that you weren't supposed to go out to. So it was scary, and even the way it was talked about before he was known, because it was like, there's no shell casings, They're doing it out the back of a car.
Well, they didn't even know the back of a car part at first.
Okay,
they didn't even know that at first. They had no idea where it was coming from. They didn't know, like, and I'm talking about, I don't know what like the police and all them knew. I'm saying like the general public. Like, they had no idea if it was coming out of a car or wherever. They just knew that if you went to get gas, you was going to die. I'm telling you. They knew if you went to get gas, you was going to die, bro.
Yeah.
You was going to die. And they didn't, and it affected other places other than that DC, Virginia area. Like, other people was like, is this like a thing going on in every city? Even though people weren't dying in other cities, they didn't know if it was going to be like a trend. Nobody had no idea of what was going on. They just knew people was dying, getting gas.
And it went on for a while.
Yeah. They were dumb enough. I guess once you start doing it, you can't really leave, right? Because if you're a car that's leaving that was sitting there, then they're going to know, like, hey, that car has been there the whole time. Because they did it. It was almost like they knew they were going to get caught, and we just going to get as many people as we can.
They didn't care about getting caught was another thing. They literally, it seemed like they wanted to do it as long as they could to get their message out.
What was the message?
That's messed up because we don't even
Don't
remember
buy gas.
now.
Yeah, I don't know.
He definitely had an agenda.
He was a military dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We teach people how to kill other people, and then they kill us.
Well, a lot of them have a military background, even in ISIS. But
You're trying to get our show taken down.
the fact he brain controlled a child into aiding him, and
Okay, hold on. Are we saying he's a child? He was 18.
Lee Malvo?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he'd obviously been groomed and trained probably before he was 18.
That's true.
If you think three-dimensionally, I know you have a
Hard time doing that?
so jumping over the black side.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. But why was his mom letting him hang out with this, whatever this serial killer guy was?
Probably because it was a father figure to him. And the discipline that was being instilled in him probably seemed nice at the time.
He was still in discipline, all right. Yeah, only shoot the red cars. Like,
Well, and that was another thing. There was no rhyme or reason in the shootings either.
yeah, it tells you, it lets you know how hard it is to be law enforcement when there's not a motive. There's not like a clear motive on why a person would just
You're
keep
gonna
killing
sit
people.
here and act like law enforcement cares about motive.
They do until they find out you black, then they don't care. I mean, it was just hard for them to figure out like where it was coming from, why somebody's getting shot.
Everything is hard. This man is a police protector and advocate. Everything's hard for these dusty.
Now I'm an advocate. I don't think people who know me would believe I'm an advocate at all. But thanks though.
Yeah,
that might go a long way for my running for candidacy. You know. But
are you thinking about running for office?
Yeah, I am.
Like seriously?
Post office.
No. So, John Muhammad is a member of the Nation of Islam. He had joined in '88, so he had a long time to, I guess, fester up these plans.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to associate what he did with the Nation of Islam?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because
didn't he kill black people too?
Yeah, but he was a terrorist, and he had problems with America. I'll have to look further.
I think that might be a little irresponsible.
It's not. He had beef with America. To put it on the Nation, I'm not putting it on the Nation of Islam. I think
you have to absolve.
But it was a part of that ideology.
It doesn't matter.
You have started all. Well, maybe white people put that in there so I could come on here and say some stuff.
Exactly.
Like that.
Exactly, sir. You have to absolve. The Nation of Islam because there's no. I don't see very much.
I have to absolve them because he's black.
No, in the actions of one man. It's just like, okay, then the Unabomber and all these other people, if they ever been to church, then they're doing it in the name of Christianity. Like, it's just stupid.
Well, a lot of them were.
Right, but nobody attaches Christianity to it. They never attach Christianity to his actions.
But the Nation of Islam. Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to need to educate yourself a little more on Nation of Islam before you attach them to that.
Bro, first off, Christianity and Catholicism get blamed just as Muslim and all that.
That is not true.
Yes.
For terrorist acts?
Yes.
Okay, name some.
Under Catholicism?
Either one. Christianity or Catholicism. Name terrorist acts that are associated with those.
Like the water being turned to wine.
Exactly. This is what happens when you had no answer. It's just a lot of giggles. Because you throwing the baby out with the bathwater at this point.
No, I'm not. Bro. Wars.
I'm not part of the Nation of Islam. I'm not part of the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, just because he's too lazy to stand on that corner all day.
Too lazy to stand on a corner all day?
All morning. Yeah. With them newspapers. You probably,
or I could just ring people's doorbell.
Either way, too lazy. But, so, I figured out what I was going to say. There's been wars that have been based around Catholicism. And there's been a lot of acts of hate and rage attached with every religion and intense feelings and martyrdom.
In America?
Yeah, because I learned these things in America.
This is not true.
Well, America is not a biblical place. So trying to make any...
Do you live in Georgia and you said America's not a biblical place? You live in the Bible Belt, dude.
What I meant is not like, we uphold the Bible, but I mean where the Bible took place.
Oh, you're talking about
I'm sorry
Jerusalem?
that... Yes!
Sir, we're talking about modern times. Where have you gone? Where have you gone?
Well, there's wars raging. Bro, you're acting like there's not wars raging in these places.
Is this one of your weed mind trips that you take back in the time?
There's still wars raging in
but this
Jerusalem and these places and all over the world based around Christianity, Catholicism.
I agree.
And it's also, and so what I mean is like, oh, don't peg it on black people. They're innocent. Like,
what is this thing you're doing with your arms? Are you fighting someone? Is it a spirit?
This is me knocking. This is me knocking your ideas. Like you trying to protect the Nation of Islam. This is me How?
Look how dumb this look. You know how dumb that looks on camera? Go ahead. Is that so? That's your point.
Here it is. Let me get better placement for you. Here it is. Better placement.
I think the bigger point, or
and
at least
it's like, I'm sure, bro. You can say, okay, yeah. It goes either way. Now, mind you, he could come from those roots and be mad over things. Now, mind you, a lot of these things, people will get kicked out and feel disenfranchised from white people and the Nation of Islam. You always try to take my very true, potent world perspectives and suck it out with a bunch of black power BS.
Okay.
I'm ultra black, but I'm ultra honest.
Okay, well, can I get my point out? So, what you're saying, this is the problem, though, because I'm talking about America, because this actual event happened in America, and we like to frame things in a different way. So, this is what I'll say.
Yes, and I picked up on that. It's not like I'm not aware of that.
Okay, but the viewers might not be. So, when somebody like Timothy McVeigh with the Oklahoma City bombing, or Jeffrey Dahmer, who decides to eat his victims and chase them down the street naked and the cops do nothing. So none of these people say, when they get caught, the media doesn't say, well, he joined the church in 1988, and they somehow draw a line from the church to him eating people. Like, this only happens
but
when it's involved, and this ain't even a black thing. It only happens.
It only happens.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Thank you. This only happens when it's involved somehow with Islam and Muslims. That's the only time it happens.
Now you can act like the Nation of Islam's ideas didn't paint a picture of a white devil and didn't have any direct hate in their rhetoric, or you can be honest, and it's not, and I'm saying that not because I was raised in America, because I've heard it out of their own mouths.
And this your point right there, it would be a great point. It would be the point of the year if he only killed white people.
And I did not say that they made him do it.
But it doesn't.
It's a sign of a It's a sign of a discourse with America.
It's disingenuous. It's disingenuous to say what organization. It's disingenuous to say what organization he belonged to in 1988.
And he could have fell out with them, and that's why he's shooting up both.
Or he could have
like Rambo.
Or he could have got kicked out of church. And you wouldn't associate getting kicked out of church.
Yes,
with him
I
people.
would. And they have, that has been done.
Show me.
They have talked
Give me an
about
example
things
when
like
it's been
that
done.
happening. I don't, look, I'm on the spot right now.
I know, because there is no evidence.
But because I've given examples of almost anything that you've asked, even if it took me a second, and I laughed and, I got back on track and back to a very relevant point. And I'm still on a relevant, so, you don't have this. I'm done letting you scare me with your black scare tactics.
Now they're black scare tactics?
I'm not going to say that.
The bottom line is, I don't see any evidence of that happening other than
It's tough to be black and have original ideas without a bunch of generic ones.
It's interesting.
Suppressing.
It's interesting because it's not even a black
original
issue.
Ideas.
It's not even a black issue.
It is.
I'm
because I agree with you though.
Fundamentally, I'm a Christian, so why would I even take up for a Muslim? Is because I see what they do to them. Like in America, if you're associated with the church in any type of way, they never, when you do something wrong, they never put that as what would you call that? Like as a
but they have
prerequisite to you doing something wrong.
They have used religious problems, getting exiled from churches, and things like that as reasons for why people have killed.
Yeah, you have to show me.
I'll show you.
I mean, because all the popular ones we can name, Timothy McVeigh, Jeffrey Dahmer, all the popular, like, well-known, like, serial killers and stuff have never been tied to the church.
That is not true. I can't wait to find it. I can't wait. But his last name is Muhammad.
But listen.
And he was named that because of that. So, and it's also being brought up in what I read to explain his different names.
This just got dumber.
It did.
Now, because his name is Muhammad, he's automatically qualified as a terrorist.
No, that's not what I said at all. I was saying, on a basis, it's highlighted when you're a member of the Nation of Islam, because A, you're departing from your white ancestral name.
That would be great, and it would.
Oh my God! This guy.
You know what? I agree with you up until he started killing black people too.
Bro,
you can't make sense of it. You're trying to make some patriotic angle.
I'm saying he didn't like either side at that point. I feel like he was disgruntled with both sides, as any human being could be.
Any?
Yes.
So it didn't matter if he was part of the Nation of Islam.
Bro, because they have weird jank.
So it didn't matter that he was, because anybody.
Look, I never said it mattered, but the details are the details, and you're trying to say.
Who made the details?
Oh my God.
I guarantee whoever made the details.
I made an assumption I would make of an educated assumption. My intuition is almost better than a woman's. Okay? There's woman's intuition, then there's Brandon, there's Daz, there's exotic intuition. Okay.
That's stupid. That is dumb. That's dumb. I can't wait to cut that. I'm using that as our next promo. You and you're the black Allen Iverson or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You talk a lot about yourself, putting yourself on these pedestals. You feel highly of yourself and your brain.
What did I just It's not even about thinking high or low.
But anyway, I don't want to
look.
I don't want to make this an hour-long argument about the Nation of Islam because I'm not part of that organization. But I'll just say that to tie it to them is that's a very wrong and stereotypical thing to do.
I'm gonna do more research and I'll let you know how right or wrong you are.
And we'll bring you back in here and we're
gonna talk about Lee.
Yeah, Lee Malvo.
Who he brain manipulated. Which he probably learned a lot of his manipulation tactics from the Nation of Islam.
Okay, pause for a second. That, you know how stupid that is to say. I'm going to give you an example.
I just wanted to mess with you.
No, he's being for real.
I'm not.
So he learned none of that from the military. Imagine. He learned none of that from the military. The dude was in the military.
But you're further proving my point. Because once you... And I'm basing this off of something knowledge that I heard that wasn't just pointing fingers at the Nation of Islam. And by the way, the military has been accused of a lot of terrorist building, but they usually use it to hate on Muslims.
The more you talk, the more it comes to my side.
The more I make sense.
The more it makes sense of what I said.
No, because you're still...
We're not going to pretend like there wasn't a lot of Muslim hate going on.
He hated the military. And he probably hated the Nation of Islam. I'm shooting whites and blacks.
He probably hated... So you knew he hated the military, but you don't know for a fact that he hated the Nation of Islam, but you still want to state it. You still want to say that.
Well, you got to understand something about this argument. At some point, I knew that he was disenfranchised by America as well.
Like we all are.
Yes. But like with it being in the military, I forgot about that detail. And
That's a huge detail, bro.
but still, my end result is the same: is that he felt disenfranchised by both sides.
Yeah.
Which is very easy. And I can bring up the Nation of... A lot of people who have joined the Nation of Islam have had problems with them later on.
Yeah, and
even the biggest members. So if I point out that he might have not got the most satisfactory experience with the Nation of Islam...
Yeah, he's softening his stance, number one. Number two is,
okay.
I just want you to know, I got kicked out of church when I was 5, and I'm so disgruntled that it led me to be a serial killer.
I'm not justified.
No, like, come on, man.
I'm not justified.
Because we're talking about 2003, and he
it
joined in
obviously
1988.
means a lot to... Who knows when he got disenfranchised?
Who knows if he ever did?
Okay.
Have you ever been to church? Have you ever joined a church?
Yeah, and I've also seen people turn all the way away from it, and it's a deep factor in the way that they behave.
Yeah. Have you ever been disenfranchised by the church?
Sure.
Or you just stopped going? Did you say my membership is over here? I'm out of here. Like, bruh, a lot of people have joined the church, bruh, and never went back again.
No, but he obviously took these things.
How do we know how deep he was into it?
He hit a breaking point. Deep enough that his name was legally changed.
Okay, hold on. I feel you. We're dealing with Dr. Daz again. He's diagnosing people again, and he's telling you where the illness came from. This is hilarious. I mean, I've never seen nothing like it. Dr. Daz. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Daz. Tell me exactly why he shot people at a gas station.
I just know that you can feel so controlled that you snapped. And he seemed to snap.
Okay, so what about Lee Malvo?
Was
he part of the Nation of Islam too?
No, because why? Because the guy who influenced him was disenfranchised by the Nation of Islam. And so, of course, he wouldn't go to a place.
So why did he shoot people?
Because he was disenfranchised by America, and it got preyed on.
There you go, America. Dr. Daz just told you why this kid killed people. This is not a sponsor of ours, but he keeps drinking it on camera.
No, I pulled it up while he was trying to do the Dr. Daz to...
I'm still putting it out, so... Dr. Daz.
John Muhammad got the death penalty. Lee Malvo has life in prison. John Muhammad was... and his sentencing day was October 23rd, 2003. And... he got killed in 2009. They executed him.
So thinking about him killing that many people and we call him a serial killer.
King Von was a serial killer according to the documents. If you catch more than one body, when you catch a few bodies, you're a serial killer.
Yeah, that's what my question is. What is the threshold?
Yeah, that's what made me bring up King Von. Because some people will be like, by definition, King Von is a serial killer, and then
King Von
by street code, he's not a serial killer. He's just a gangster.
Yeah, I mean, because you have people who are what they would consider sociopaths, or people from back in the day who are like have this street reputation, and then caught multiple bodies, 4, 5, 6 bodies. That I would consider a serial killer.
Mm-hmm. And they're known as a killer.
Yeah.
It's weird that they don't label black people who catch a lot of bodies as serial killers.
Yeah.
It's more of the denial of mental health issues. Because serial killer sounds crazy. While shooting niggas sounds cool.
I don't think it's a denial of mental health issues.
Of course you wouldn't.
I don't think that's what it is, but I do think black people don't want that label of having serial killers.
Because it makes them sound crazy.
No, it's not true.
And they want to sound gangster. Bro,
that might be true.
You can tiptoe around the mental health stuff when I bring up good points, but I'll be bringing them up. And your whole attitude about it is a part of why I've been on this agenda to educate and make people more conscientious. And I don't get why you're so old school when it comes to mental health.
Okay. That being said, now my point is that I don't think, I do think black people try to shed those labels because I think they have so many other labels. And it's like white people don't have enough labels. So like the serial killer thing is usually relegated towards a white male in his 30s or above or whatever, middle-aged white male. And
then you're just catching bodies if you know.
Thank you. And you hear about pedophiles, and it's kind of the same thing. Middle-aged white males,
which happens a lot in the hood too.
This is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah,
it does happen. It does happen. But the problem is black people don't want those labels because they have all the other labels, like gangs. There's no white gangs for some reason. Nobody ever mentions gangs when it's a group of white people. So they have gangs. They have these street thugs. All these labels.
Smooth cop-outs.
But that's what I'm saying. All these labels. And I think it hurts black people in the long run because we don't identify things that are going on in our neighborhoods that are not necessarily good for our children.
Yo, yo, yo. It's Brandon Daz, Daz Exotic, whatever you want to call it. Subscribe to our YouTube. Link below. Yo, time flies. So
time flies. Time flies. Time flies. Time flies.